let's go to Hainan, because Hainan, as you said, your family moved to Hainan before 1988. And I know when you were young, at that time, the kids in your school, when they talk about seafood, they're like, oh, we have enough seafood, the shrimp, the crab, and everything. But now when they get older and when they became parents, they're now actually become a little bit worried about the food, the seafood especially. Is it healthy? Is it safe? So what about the changes in here, and what can you do, or what can people in your major do to make a difference to that?
Well, yeah, you're perfectly right. I was about to share a personal experience. That's a conversation between my elementary school classmate and myself when we talking about where to get the good quality seafood for our kids. I remember when we were younger, my classmates come to school and complaining about, oh my God, I'm sick of getting every day's breakfast as the seafood congee or seafood noodles. My mom was forcing me to take that every day. But now when they become parents, it's so difficult for them to find the right fish, which is either undersized, or sometimes they will worry about the polluted seafood.
Yeah.
So this was really vastly changed over a very short period of time. It's less than like 20, 30 years. You see the generation diet have flipped, or somehow, unfortunately, there's a lot of diversity of the seafood were gone. And on the other hand, I have heard when I come back to Hainan, worked in a local environmental research institute, we realized that over 70% of the coral reefs around Hainan Island were disappeared. So that's either due to the climate change, or some effluent discharged from the land wiped out the space for coral and mangroves. And it's devastating. And that's why there's a need for us. We are actually playing the role as a coordinator between the government, the public institute, and the private sector. For example, when the scientists develop some technology for the fishermen to diagnose fish disease or cure the fish disease, they still need someone that understand or speak the same language with the fisherman, fish farmer, to convert that to a more customized local environment. So there's a knowledge gap between that. And this kind of role really requires more interdisciplinary approach. Not just the physical science or the biology science, but you also need to understand the local culture, local social,
even dialect,
dialects, everything. So it really needs a more innovative system to bridge the different sectors, and that's I think it'll drive our team to become a key role in this process. And it's still a learning process for us as today, very complicated issue. As a consumer, we can contribute from our perspective, and from the government and industry side, there's more work to be done. For example, like the better monitoring of the vessels, and how to convert some of those small-scale fishers, transform their livelihoods from traditional fishing to more sustainable practices. Maybe Godfrey can take some of them, can make them to the new business model, like the yachting or the providing the service.
Godfrey, can you do that? Do you see that as a lucrative opportunity for making money for your business? Do you see that?
Well, actually, a few fishermen here around Sanya have already started to reconvert into tourism. And they take people out on fishing trips, still catching fish, but I mean not catching fish in huge amount with nets and stuff like that. You know, they have a saying, when Chinese fishermen use a net, nothing can get through except the sand. You know, they catch everything.
Is that the case? Seriously?
This is really bad. I had some people in my team who were a family of fishermen. And, you know, like 20 years ago, a bit more than 20 years ago, they were still catching, can you imagine, whales outside from Yalong Bay. You know, just only like 20 miles off from Yalong Bay, they were catching whales at the time. There is none of these anymore. All this has disappeared. So, but you know, the fishermen rely on big catches. So I think the fishing industry is going to decrease definitely in the future because they can't make it financially viable for big ships to catch fish here. Only little fishermen with small fishing boats are still okay. But for the big ships, they will have to go further and further to catch fish. And so fishermen have to, of course, reoriented themselves into a different direction. Maybe tourism, maybe fish farming, maybe fish processing, this kind of thing. Yeah. In the end, you know, it's always like that. They can't rely on the local fish population to make a living anymore.